Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here, playing some more Warhammer combat cards, and here we are at the start of yet another season of ranked mode. I didn't actually get too many games in this past season with the World Eaters Battle Pass. It was actually the first time I didn't even make it to Terra in a long time. But we've got the Dark Angels themed Battle Pass for the new season, as you can see there on the left. And on the right we have a developer blog listing the balance changes for the new season. There aren't too many, but there are a few significant ones worth talking about, so let's take a look at what has changed. So first and foremost, Ghosar, the Tyranid Warlord, has finally gotten his special rule buffed. So it used to only add 2 melee attack each turn, and now it is up to 3. So just a 1 point difference. It may not seem like a lot, but I mean, it is kind of a 50% increase in the melee damage. It's really not the greatest special rule, and it doesn't, especially because it doesn't really scale with levels. Like, it's maybe stronger for newer players, but I do personally like Ghosar quite a bit. I think he's fun to play as. The only issue though is that they compensated for this buff by increasing the points of the Warlord up by 5, so he's now at 39, and he was already had like the lowest health for his cost of like any Warlord. It was pretty bad to begin with, but now it's just pretty awful. So like, and considering his win rate was already not that high, I don't feel like he deserved a nerf. It really seemed unnecessary there, and I think a lot of other players would agree with that. But yeah, that's how it's going to be, at least for this season. Moving on to card stat adjustments for the Tau. Just one bodyguard here, the Remora Drone Stealth Fighter. He is 1 less point and got 17 more health. For Servants of the Emperor, Magos Dominus actually got a pretty big buff to his stats, so he's 3 points less, down to 17 points. Very cheap for a Warlord. And plus 12 to his ranged attack, so he actually punches decently hard with those guns. For the longest time, he just did absolutely no damage. It was just sad for a Warlord. But he's definitely got a big upgrade now. And then the Penitent Engine got a pretty big nerf. It's minus 27 health, minus 5 melee, and plus 2 points. So I guess the reasoning they have behind this is that it was a little bit too strong with Canoness Viridian, and they want to get players to, try out other possibilities. Servants of the Emperor do have a pretty large roster, but yeah, it's true, not many cards are just pure melee like this one. For the Space Marines, the Salamander's Ironclad Dreadnought, this has been getting tinkered with quite a bit lately. It's 3 points less and plus 10 to its ranged attack. Mr. Swiftwind here got plus 7 health and plus 8 melee. It's been kind of crazy, some of these Space Marines, like how much melee they've been giving them, especially to these really cheap ones. It's pretty ridiculous. And I don't know, it seems to me that it's just a little bit unbalanced at this point. You got, cards that are still fairly weak, and then other cards that are the same points but are just so much stronger, like 20 or 30 more stats. Like this Dark Angels Terminator Librarian, he got, I guess it's a buff, 37 more wounds, so he's just way more tanky. But one of his stat upgrades got changed from Psychic to Melee, so now he deals almost as much Melee as Psychic, and his Psychic attack is pretty pathetic, even though his trait is Warp Surge. It's just a really weird change to this card. Not that it was very useful to begin with. The Grandmaster of the Ravenwing, who I do not own, got a buff. 4 less points, plus 5 melee, plus 3 ranged, and plus 12 health. And then Utorian Danash, who I also do not own. The Deathwatch Watchmaster, he got plus 12 to his melee stats and plus 13 ranged. Moving on to Chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler got his trait changed from Furious Charge to Fear, which is an odd choice. I did like having Furious Charge on him because that triggers, his special rule, so he just gets an extra buff to like all the stats. So I mean, I feel like I would rather have Furious Charge than like Inspiring Presence. I mean, Fear of course is useful on him. I mean, it's going to make him way more tanky, much harder to kill once he's on the field, and that's an important thing. But yeah, I will miss that Furious Charge, I think. And then this guy, the Crimson Slaughter Terminator Sorcerer, got plus 8 ranged and plus 32 health. This was a pretty weak card, and it's still kind of just a weird thing that it doesn't really know what it wants to do. Warp Surge is the trait, but its Psychic attack is pretty weak. So, not the most useful card. The only change to Tyranids was, unfortunately, just the one to Ghosar. For Necrons, the Corpse Lord actually got a pretty big buff to its stats, plus 37 health and plus 15 melee, so the thing actually hits quite hard. No change to the points, it's just a straight up buff to its stats. Special rule is still quite weak, just 10 health for Redding. But yeah, this guy can actually beat down some enemies, I think, once he's on the field. And then for the Eldar, the Avatar of Khaine also lost Furious Charge, and instead now has Fear as its secondary trait. So Furious Charge on this guy was not as important, especially being the secondary trait. It didn't actually hit for that much damage. So I guess, yeah, Fear is pretty good on the Avatar. And I guess, as they say, thematically it fits as well. So it'll be interesting seeing this one on the field. But that is it for the changes this time around. So definitely some odd choices, some questionable choices. Let me know what you think of these changes. And again, what you'd like to see in the future. I myself am, again, just looking forward to more Tyranids, and I really hope that they add all of the brand new models into the game. I just saw that the Death Leaper actually got a brand new model as well, which won't be released for some time, so probably won't make it into the game anytime soon, but yeah, definitely excited to see more Tyranids in this game. They just need more variety. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.